Hello, everybody. I would like to talk to you about the recent allegations that have been raised against the General Overseer of COZA. That's the very popular ministry that is very anointed and a quite amazing ministry that have brought the gospel to a lot of youths, and it's actually spreading very fast around the world. The church is headquartered in Nigeria, and the general overseer is Pastor Biodun. He's somebody that his words and his wisdom has inspired so many. Recently, there have been allegations against him regarding rape that allegedly happened 20 years ago. These allegations are made by a member, somebody who was a member of his church and had been in the choir. This is somebody who allegedly was raped by the pastor of COZA, remained in his ministry for over 20 years, met her husband, married in the ministry. Then it is now that I'm sure things have gone in a different direction between whatever relationship they had. Because I know that a lot of times when people are at the very beginning of a ministry, when they helped you to start, or they may not have even really been of help, perhaps they were in the choir at the very beginning, or they had some position, they like to feel like they should be involved in being part of the board or being a key decision maker or having some top rank. That is actually common in a lot of churches. It is sad, but it is common. There are so many churches that have a lot of board members that way because they have actually old members, and sometimes people are appreciated that way. There are people who are made deacons not because the Holy Spirit told them to be made deacons, as in the Holy Spirit did not direct the pastor to make that person a deacon, but probably because that person has been a member for so long. Sometimes things like that happen. Sometimes people put themselves in positions where they are made deacons because of the kind of donations they give to the church. Now, that being said, I do not know the specifics of what went wrong, but the fact remains this woman claims that she was raped by this pastor over 20 years ago, and even the account of the rape is completely false. Let us also know that there's no way to investigate this thing when it comes to being really realistic. You can try, but everything is either going to be based on hearsay or deductions, because this is something that happened over 20 years ago in Nigeria. How are you going to verify? But there are things that you can look at to see and actually say, well, these things does not add up. But everything that you are going to say about it is just purely based on guesswork, because you are not going to produce camera or any kind of evidence. It's just going to be his word against hers or her word against his. That is what it's going to be. And it is sad that this is what has happened in this day and age. We are now living in a day and age where women can just wake up one morning and accuse a man of anything, and a man's life is ruined. This is something that has started in America and it is now entering Nigeria. And unfortunately, the same reactions that happen in America is what is happening here. People just believe first. Only recently, there was a Cuba Gooding Jr., a popular African-American actor, was just accused of molesting a lady. The video footage came out. The guy was nowhere near the lady when the alleged assault happened. You cannot assault somebody from a distance. There was also another case of somebody who was accused of raping a lady. When the video footage came out, this guy passed the lady, and it was in an airport. How can you claim that somebody raped somebody in an airport? Not in a secluded part of the airport, in the airport, the terminal, where everybody is. How is that possible? And the video footage came out that this man just passed her. You see? Yet, the man was still arrested. Granted, he was released, but why was he arrested in the first place? But this is the power that women now have. A woman can just wake up one morning and say that this person raped me, and that is how his life has ended. You see? So, this so called allegation is completely idiotic. And when you think about what is being said, that it was when she was a teenager, and one of the stories, and that is all it is, accusations and stories. Story, story, story. Anybody can come up with stories. You see, and the sad thing is that many people are just jumping into conclusions and are just branding him guilty, and are saying step down. How is he going to step down? He's the founder of his ministry. Who are you to tell him to step down? Did you appoint him? Did you elect him? You can't tell him to step down, and it is his ministry. If Dangote does something wrong, can you tell him to step down? He can't step down. It is him that founded the Dangote empire. You see, now you may say that business and church are not the same thing. Well, church is an organization. Whether you like it or not, it's an organization. And the founder of the organization, he's not going to step down. He's stepping down is actually going to be doing what Satan wants him to do. Because now this sets a precedence. The whole goal of this is to attack the church. It is not about him. It is an attack on the church. Because what are people going to be saying online? This is what the church does. This is what happens in the church. This is actually people who hate Christianity, those who hate pastors, who will jump on this thing because there's no proof of anything. Especially when you see that this lady had been a member of a church all this while. If she was raped, why didn't she report? This is something that she did not tell anybody. She did not tell her parents. She did not tell the police. She did not tell anybody. And she claimed this happened over 20 years ago. She did not tell anybody. All that while, it is now. It is so convenient for her to now tell. You see, a lot of people have to understand that the devil has strategies, and this is not new. When you read different books, many years ago, I read a book called Alberto, and you see, it clearly puts one of the strategies, and this is something that they wanted to do to the great Archbishop Benson Idahosa, but it did not work out well for the person. You see, because God revealed to Archbishop Benson Idahosa that the woman was actually hiding, you see, in his wardrobe. What happened was that she just started shouting fire. The fire of God was burning her. The plan was that when Archbishop Benson Idahosa lies down, because, you know, when pastors and ministers go to conferences and other places, they often stay in hotels. So the plan was that this woman will hide in his hotel room. When he lies down, she's going to come out, when he's sleeping, she's going to lie beside him and take a picture. You see, someone will come out and take a picture. That was the plan. But when she was in the wardrobe, she started shouting fire, fire. So he wondered, he opened and he saw her, and that is when he got the story. Eventually, that woman died a week or two, before 2 weeks after that. But in any case, this is not a new strategy. This is things that are often done. The scripture says, attack the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. Those are the strategies of the devil. You know, we should not be ignorant of the devices of the devil, the strategies of the devil. It is clear. Your pastor is going to be attacked. Christian leaders are going to be attacked. And one thing that you have to realize is that when a Christian leader is attacked, it is not about that Christian leader. It is about all of Christianity. It's a way to discredit all of Christianity. That is what the target is. This is something that is against the church. There are a lot of silly Christians who are going online and are attacking it and are trying to put their own churches better and all of that. You see, you have to understand how what is being sold is sold. What is being sold is that this is how the church behaves. You know, everybody's acting based on hearsay. Everybody's acting based on what they think, not based on facts. It is like facts don't matter. I know this is very sad because now we are now living in a time where when you hear of a woman being raped, your first instinct now is whether it is true or false. You know, personally, my first instinct is to think that it is false because a lot of times we hear of all these accusations, and next thing you know, video footage come out or evidence come out that points in the other direction that this is all fabricated. A lot of women are now doing this. There are instances of women ever since this nonsense Me Too movement started. You will see an instance of a woman accusing a man of violence, domestic violence. Next thing, video footage comes out of a security camera showing a recording of the woman beating herself up just at that same time that she said that she was being domestically abused. You see, so it had made men a victim. Now we now have the growing MGTOW movement. For those of you who do not know what MGTOW is, MGTOW stands for men going their own way. We now have a whole brood of men going in a different direction. And all this helps with population decrease. And this is where all this started. And that is also why homosexuality is being pushed. It is actually a way of controlling the population. We have a situation where men are pitched against women and women are pitched against men. For the first time in history, for some strange reason, human beings cannot see that they're actually the same species. We have the male species versus the female species. What species plans to survive and continue and thrive when the situation is that way? Then we even have so much distortion. You see, all these things building up to contribute into this scenario where we have this fake rape blaming epidemic all over the place. Ronaldinho was recently, or whether it was early this year or last year, he was accused of raping 2 women or so. There was a time I believe Chris Brown was also accused of raping someone, and he was easily vindicated when the matter was investigated. You know, it happens over and over again. And the thing is that when it comes out that the woman was lying, nothing happens to the woman. The woman walks away. We are now living in a world where when any woman is upset with any man, all she has to do is say, he raped me. And then people descend on him. He gets fired. A lot of men have lost their job. Only recently, Morgan Freeman, who is a very popular actor, he starred in God, Bruce Almighty. He has starred in a lot of movies. Morgan Freeman, because of how he looked at a CNN reporter, and I think whether he complimented her, she said that it made her feel a certain way, and because of that, he lost a multi-million-dollar deal with I believe it was an insurance or a card company that he was supposed to be advertising. You see, just because of this is him looking. So you mean to tell me that a man looking at a woman, or what a man said, and what he said was actually a compliment. You see, it is hard that wanted to, and even, let us put it this way, even if a man insults a woman, you see, that is a different matter. Why in the world would that now be taken into such a serious accusation of this is now a serious sexual assault, and then he's now losing millions of dollars over it? You see, this has happened so many instances. You know, it is everywhere. So now, this has actually created a scenario where it is actually bad for women who are actually being raped. Because now, when a woman is actually being raped, she is now put in the same category with she's just a liar. Because all the other people that are coming out are just crazy people. A woman is upset with a man and then she's ready to ruin the man's life. And when everything comes out that this woman was lying, she's let go. She's not even arrested, nothing. And this happens over and over again. You see? So this nonsense accusation and saying that, I believe there was also another story that claims that this COZA pastor over 20 years ago raped her at the side of the road. How insane is that? You know, first of all, let's look at the first one. The first claim is a story, and these are just stories that are circulating here and there. So these are not facts. But let's look at the first story, that he showed up at her house, opened the door, and told her lie down and keep quiet and raped her. Who does that? How is that possible in her own house? Doesn't she have parents? Doesn't she have neighbors? Who in the world can just come into somebody's house, open the door, and wasn't the door locked? He just kicked open the door and then entered and raped her. He did not have any weapon. He had no gun. He had no knife. What kind of story is that? That is not possible. There is no way that that is possible in this world, in this life, especially in Nigeria. It is not possible. Then the other story is that he raped her at the side of the road in Nigeria. How can somebody rape somebody at the side of the road with all the people passing? And in Nigeria, where they are so happy, and this is 20 years ago when people were so happy to bomb people for doing any, even for stealing. If someone stole a pen and he ran away and people shouted, thief, ole, ole, ole. In Nigeria 20 years ago, they will pour kerosene on that person and burn that person on a tire. Then that is the kind of country that you are saying that somebody raped somebody at the side of the road. What are you talking about? You see, even the stories do not make any sense. It is completely impossible. You see, so this madness, anyway, I hope that serious charges are filed by the pastor of COZA towards this wicked woman. You see, because now this is actually an attack on the church, an attack on the ministry that is growing so well. You know, the last time I heard that they have expanded into Dubai. You see, so these are things that are strategic. And you can see even the Dalai Lama, as in the Buddhist monk, they are actually bringing such charges against people who are actually under him, that they are sexually assaulting people who are faithful to their own faith. And you know, naturally, you must have heard about what they're accusing Catholics of. Just because one or two Catholic priests, do you know how many Catholics there are in the world? Do you know how many Catholic priests there are in the world? Do you know how many nuns there are in the world? If you find one or two nuns who sexually molested a child and you can prove it, that does not condemn every other Catholic priest. That does not mean that every Catholic priest is doing the same thing. If I brought to you one homosexual that committed murder and said, because this homosexual committed murder, all homosexuals are murderers, what will you say? You are one of the first people who will want to complain and say that it is hate speech and complain. You see, but they bring one Catholic priest and then because he molested one child, or they bring 5 or whatever number, and then they say, that is how everybody is. And that is what they want to do with Pastor Biodun. You see, first of all, he is innocent to begin with. He had nothing to do with it. He did not rape anybody at all. You see, now this thing that they are doing, the whole point is to destroy the image of the church. Imagine somebody who listens to or who hears or participates in this madness online. Now they now have the mindset that is how church people are. This is how pastors behave. Imagine inviting that person to your own church. It may not be COZA. You see, what will that person say? You see, it is actually a move and a way of attacking the whole church. So if you're a pastor, this concerns you. You see, this is serious. You must not be ignorant of the devices of the enemy. They are not just attacking one pastor and one ministry. By attacking one, they are attacking everybody. You see? And remember, as I said, this epidemic of women accusing any and everybody they are unhappy with of rape. And then later again, this matter, when it is investigated fully and all that can be brought out, you will see that it is not possible. He didn't rape anybody. And also the instances, I'm sure that she had tried to extort money. You see, if she hasn't, naturally, the reasons why she's doing this, we all know that at the end of the day, it is the devil working. You see, but whether somebody paid her or she's making a lot of money from it, because it is actually lucrative, especially in a nation like Nigeria, where there is a war between Christianity and you now have this movements where they are trying to ban preachers from preaching and they are trying to ban preachers from holding night vigils and all those kind of things. So you see that push. Those people have money. What will stop them from doing all they can to bring down a man of God? So I am not laying any accusations on anybody, but I'm just laying out different options and different scenarios. So you have to see all the different possibilities, you see, as to why what is actually also helping to motivate her to act in that way, you see. But One thing is for sure, there was no rape was done. This is a man that has been falsely accused. Interestingly enough, every ministry has their theme for the year. Some ministries, they're like, say, this is the year of shining, this is our year of light, this is our year of greater expectations. The theme for this year for COZA is the year of testimony. And I once heard someone once say that after the test comes the testimony. So naturally, this is a test, and this is something that he's going to skim through, and it will bring to shame all those who have been talking nonsense. And I hope that all those who have been talking nonsense, including those who are actually running for political positions, those who aspire to political positions, because I saw most of them were tweeting, I stand with the person that is making the accusation, even though no proof or evidence have been revealed. And I hope that perhaps their children will also be falsely accused of rape, or they themselves will be falsely accused of rape. We even have a situation where a musician who is a cult member, he had the nerve to join and be pointing fingers. This is somebody that was only recently being investigated for the murder of his friend. You see, this is somebody who, you see him, he has a video that is dedicated to that secret cult. He also has made the secret cult sign in many of his music videos. Then he is now bringing out himself as holier than thou and trying to fight against the kingdom of God and condemning a man before a trial. You see, this madness needs to stop. You see, this madness needs to stop. And you see the hypocrisy of the world, and this is what the world likes to do. And I'm actually ashamed that a lot of Nigerians are this gullible. They are all acting like the left, in America. They are all acting like Democrats in America. That is the mindset. It shows how gullible Nigerians are. Nigerians are as gullible as the left in America. Nigerians are as gullible as Black Americans. They are easily deceived, and they just jump on everything. They do not think, they do not do their research. When you put yourself in this kind of position where there's a bandwagon, people just someone makes an accusation, you just jump on it, no investigation, nothing has been done. You have to wait till there's an investigation, you know what is. You know your left from your right. You see? This is something that based on the stories and based on different scenarios, I can see for myself that from the get-go, I can Sherlock Holmes it and tell you that this is a nothing burger. Nothing happened. He didn't rape anybody. It's people like Nigerians that have shown me that if the kind of propaganda that is carried out against President Trump is carried out in Nigeria, it will be successful. I am disappointed in the IQ level of Nigerians. Nigerians just believe everything just like the Black Americans in America do. It's sad. That means that if the Nigerian media starts a particular false rhetoric and the internet catches on to it, all Nigerians will just go along with it and believe it and just go in that direction. That is not the sign of a nation that plans to prosper. That is not a sign of a nation that wants to be great. That should stop. Stop being gullible. Be smart. Evidence matters. Facts matters. Don't just jump on bandwagons because other people are on it. Don't just believe any and everything that you are told. You see? Try to be smart. Don't be gullible. It's shameful that Nigerians of all people are gullible. So, that's all I have to say for now. Thank you and God bless.